People always ask how I balance my family life with 400 shows a year. I'm just doing what I love with the people I love. It's my magic life.
I like Wes Iseli. I like everything about him.
All right, guys. Today we have a guy born in New Zealand, a magician, a creator, an author, a publisher, whose career has taken him to more than 120 countries. He is known around the world for his award-winning Charlie Chaplin Magic Act and has spent decades headlining cruise ships and has created an enormous catalog of magic books and effects. He is the founder and editor of Vanish International Magic Magazine. Everybody, it's Paul Romhany. What's up, buddy? How are you?
Hey, good. Hang on, I've got to take a call. Sorry. Hello? That was Chaplin calling. He wants his act back.
Dude,
I'm awesome, thanks.
Before we hit record, I'm into this. I'm loving this. I love you. You're awesome. Magic.
Thank you.
I'm in my world. This is awesome.
Well, now we're recording. I'll probably dry up.
No.
How are you both?
We're doing great. This is my wife, Natalie.
Hi. I know. Hi, Natalie. I follow you guys. Well, I did follow you on social media. What happened there?
Yeah, we'll get into that.
Okay, we'll get into that.
I'm still on Facebook.
You can follow that.
Yeah.
Tag on it. Anyway, let's get started. So, growing up in New Zealand, what was magic like there? To me, that's like Lord of the Rings, far off fantasy land. Where is this place at? Where is this?
No, well, Gandalf was my first teacher, actually, my mentor, and I was the one that found the original ring. And then I'm about the size of a hobbit. New Zealanders look like hobbits. My friends tell me that, so there we go. Those tells you the friends I have. No, it's interesting. So I'm an old man now, and with the mind of a kid. And going back, when I started magic, going back, I started at about 6, 7, 8 years old, and I saw a magician, and I thought, that's everything happened at the same time. I saw a magician. I wanted to do magic. I saw Charlie Chaplin, a movie at 8, and I thought, that's exactly what I'm going to do. At age 8, I'm going to be Charlie Chaplin. I just knew it. I love that line. I think it was it Terry Seabrook or Billy McComb? One of them had a line that was, who was it? It'll come to me. I wasted the first 8 years of my life not knowing what I wanted to do. So I can see it in my son now with his football, his soccer. You think, how can an 8-year-old know what they want to do? I just did. And I did music. I was doing music since I was 6, playing piano and so on. So growing up in New Zealand with magic was interesting because you had to do everything. You couldn't specialize in one thing because it's such a small country. So you did birthday parties, I did television, close-up, corporate, absolutely everything. So you became skilled without really knowing it in everything. You had to do it all, which was great foundation. It wasn't until my 20s that I, sort of early 20s, maybe late teens, it was Paul Green actually came to do a New Zealand convention. He said, you need to focus on one thing and follow that, which is what I did. But to make a living, you did everything. Oh, is that me? Hold on. What the heck? Oh, hang on. We got a phone. Hold on.
He set that up on purpose to do that.
No, I didn't. But it's. I should turn that.
I'm an idiot, Paul. I'll tell you that right now. And we're bad at geography. Is New Zealand the size of Texas or way smaller? Because I just see it on a globe.
Texas is big as anything, so it must be smaller than Texas. New Zealand is made up of two main islands and a smaller island, tiny little island, Stewart Island. But North and South Island, no, it's a small country at the bottom of the world. It would take, for example, obviously when I was growing up, there was no internet. There weren't even computers, not until my teens. We had television when I was about 6. Television, it was down there before that, but nobody had TV. So, I could be living in a museum. And to order anything, like to order a magic book or to order a magazine, to get a magazine, you had to wait months, like 6 months sometimes. You would you had to go to the post office, and what was it called, a postal note. You can only do like $5 at a time. So you had to go there one day, go there the next week. So you first of all, you had to save up to get the item, and then you had to send it off. It would take months to get something, and you'd be waiting at the post box there every day, and it would take ages. So it really was growing up a long way away. So really, I relied on the older. I was the youngest guy growing up doing magic, and I relied on all the older guys with their library books, all old books. Obviously, there was no video or anything in those days, so it was all books. And then, but they had a good, strong foundation of clubs, and so that was a big help too.
Was Abbott's a thing for you in New Zealand?
Nope.
See, I think of Abbott's as the international catalog for magicians all over the world. So
you could send away for it, but it would take 6 months to get it.
Yeah.
and,
wow.
So it was going. I know it sounds antiquated, but it was going back then. It was all from books. And the best thing I ever did was read. I mean, I would just read every magic book I could get my hands on. And that was the best foundation to even for today. Years like referencing things or knowing things. You have to have a good. Now these days, people just learn a trick, buy a trick, learn it. They don't have the foundation, and it's the foundation that really comes into play if you want to make a living from it. Because you could put me in any situation. I mean, any situation. There's no situation I don't believe I've not worked, and I will be able to do something that is acceptable. Standing on a chair in a hotel, completely surrounded. It doesn't matter where you put me. I can adapt. And it's and a good example of this is when I was doing cruise ships one year. I think if there's a world record, I have it. They lost my luggage, like the airlines, in 1 year 14 times. So each time I had to turn up and perform because you have to perform. So and it's only because of all that reading and not having the internet and just reading every book, having this ability to pick up anything, I was able to put together a show. And in the end, I just designed a show for my backpack, which became my corporate show. And then if the chaplain show got lost, no problem. I had enough 45 minutes material in my backpack to do a 45-minute show.
So you didn't even have the silent act. You didn't have
no, I didn't. No, I do a stand-up. Oh heck, hang on. I do a stand-up comedy show. So let me just turn this off. How do I turn it off? Sorry, let me learn how to turn my phone off. I'm usually not this busy, but of course I've told everyone to call during this time. Oh, he's busy.
Well, do the gag again. You gotta have the gag.
I'll do that now. Timing. Growing up in New Zealand, to answer a question 20 minutes later, it was all old school, reading books, talking to magicians, going to club meetings, just soaking as much of it as you can in.
So early on, was there looking back now, it's so great to have a silent act because you can do these international non-speaking cruise ships. Mm-hmm. That wasn't your motivation, though. You didn't go in there saying, if I have a silent act, I can work anywhere.
You know what? So I had a passion for Charlie Chaplin since I was a kid. It just fascinated me. It just resonated with me the minute I saw the movie The Kid. And when I was 18, Marvin Roy and Carol, Mr. Electric, toured New Zealand. They toured a few times actually with Chuck Jones, the Chuck Jones tour, the World Festival of Magic tour, and it's the longest running tour in the world. It's been going for 40 years now. I don't know how long. Anyway, he did a lecture, and I've still got the original lecture notes which he signed, which is a long time ago, over 30 years ago, 30 more, maybe more. And he did a lecture on how to take an act and and create a silent act, and that's really what is. You find something you really like. If you're into football or soccer, do an act based around soccer. So he talked about a themed act because, of course, he was world famous for the electric act and then the jewelry act, and he toured the world. Now, in those days when he was working, you could do 15 minutes. You could go work in Paris or work anywhere in the world. There were 15-minute shows, right? Variety shows. So anyway, the object was for me was I thought, that really hit me. And he didn't teach one trick. He just explained how he went step by step, how you create a themed act. It was the best lecture I've ever been to. So I took that to heart. And the next day, I put the Chaplin act together, literally, within a day. Because I knew, well, it's some of the stuff from almost 40 years ago now are still in it. And then my friends helped me. Wayne Rogers, who was a big influence on my life, he helped me create a lot of the material for it. And then over the years, it's just developed. But very rarely do I add things in now. So
Wow. Wow. Well, we were watching some clips of it, man. It's awesome.
Yeah.
thank you, thanks.
So when Tom Mullica did the clown act, I can't even remember the clown's name. It's on the tip of my tongue. I can't get it.
It's got now you mentioned, but it'll come. Red Skeleton.
When he did Red Skeleton, I was like, I love Tom so much. And when he went and did that, I'm like, but none of the young people know Red Skeleton. But my dad went to go see Tom Mullica, and I'm taking him to go see Tom Mullica because I want to see Mullica. He wants to see a guy Red Skeleton.
Right, yeah.
What was that what it was for the cruise ships? Like they didn't know, but it's a universal thing.
Chaplin to this day is still universal. So I've worked in African jungles. I've worked in United Arab Emirates, Dubai, all over the world, and places where you think, well, why are they booking China? Everybody knows. I was in Dubai working years ago, and on the airline, there was a whole channel on the airline just of Chaplin movies. So I had it. There was something. Wow. Holy smoke! So because it's like Mr. Bean. Mr. Bean is universal. You don't, and that's the same with Chaplin. To this day, Chaplin is still. You could show that figure, and I was I trained as a school teacher back in the day, and never did anything with it. But I was doing film and television and music as a teacher, and in film and television, we would teach the kids the history of film. Well, of course, Chaplin. So now you've got kids are learning about Chaplin in school. In fact, I went to my son's school. I don't know, it was a couple of years ago, and I had to go have a meeting about something, and I looked over, and his class is sitting there watching Chaplin. So they were studying film and television. So, and he was too embarrassed to tell them, and that's what his dad does. But
yeah, that's how you come pick him up the next day at school.
I know. I have done that. I'll tell you something funny recently that happened. A friend of mine happened to be doing a show down the road, and he was talking to the kids. He was doing a bubble party, actually, like a foam party, I think it's called, and other things. I guess he was doing magic as well. But he was there all day at a camp, summer camp. And he said to me, and I live up the road, and he's, I'm coming over. I said, I'll be here if you want to pop in afterwards. He phoned me up and he said, hey, the kids went yesterday to, where'd they go? Oh, they went to this old village, like an old town village. And then they had an old town movie theatre and they were playing Chaplin. He said, would you mind dressing up and just walking down the street as Chaplin? So I dressed up, walked down, I just walked by, and the kids went ballistic. Oh my God, Chaplin! There's Charlie Chaplin. And he called me over, and I didn't say a thing. I just walked with the whole character, and the kids thought that I was the real deal. They couldn't believe. So I think Red Skeleton is quite different because it's very American.
Right.
Like growing up, I had no idea who he was.
Right.
Nobody outside of the US, I guess, would know who he was. But Chaplin is so universal; he's all over the world, and even today. So I don't, and even if the young kids don't know who he is, he's a clown. So it doesn't matter if they don't know who he is. And in my show, my one-man show of Chaplin, I touch on who he is, who he was, and his influence on cinema, and so I do talk a bit of history about it.
Awesome. All right, so we have so much to go over. It says here in my notes that the circus is what made the impression on you. Was that the first?
Yeah, the circus. So the circus is the kid in the circus. The circus is where Chaplin becomes a magician, and he accidentally gets in a circus, and everything goes wrong. It's hilarious. Doves fly out where they shouldn't do because I forget what happened. The magician got sick or drunk actually, which is pretty typical of any magician. So the magician's drunk, lying on the floor, so Chaplin has to go out and do his act. It's just funny. So the circus was probably the influence, but then about the same time I watched The Kid and all of them.
So it says that you studied music. Do you think that helped your timing and everything for your theatrical performances?
100%. In fact, the music for me plays more of an important role than the magic as far as the act. If you see the act, you go, holy smokes, everything is choreographed to the beat because I can hear the beats and the rhythm. Everything is done to the rhythm. And I'll give you some little tips here. So in music, you breathe. You have to breathe. And so in magic, we often perform. And if I asked you, where did you breathe? You go, breathe.
Right.
So if we have to learn as performers to breathe, and that means that you give your audience time to take it in. And I learned this when I did a Bob Fitch workshop. I've been doing my act for so long. I had to put up. He wanted to see one piece from each in a workshop, one piece from each performer. So I did my growing hanky, where 10 or 20 feet of hanky comes out of my pocket, and it's all choreographed to music. It's all timed. I actually hired a choreographer to come in and help me put it together. And it's all just, if you hear it to the music, everything, dun dun dun, every hand gesture, everything. And he finished, and he goes, "Well, what are you here for?" I said, "Oh, well, I don't know what to do with it." He goes, "Well, let me ask you one question. I think it's a 3-minute piece." He said, "Where did you breathe?" And I went, because I'm like sweating. It's a really heavy piece, like concentration. I'm concentrating on the character. He said, "Where did you breathe?" And I went, "I don't think I did." So I learned to breathe. And the minute that you breathe, the audience breathes, and it gives them time to soak in what happened. I think that's a really important lesson. We don't breathe, and so you get that with music. So there's a lot of parallels with music that I take, but timing is a huge thing. Choice of music. I know because I know the character so well, I can know within 2 seconds of listening to a piece of music if I'm going to use it or not. In 2 seconds. If I'm working on a salt pour, for example, I know exactly what I want. I just know the beats, the style. So music is actually really, really important. I'm very fortunate that I did music degree. And in the act, because Chaplin wrote a lot of his music. In fact, he wrote all the music for his own movies, which is strange because they're silent movies. Bad joke, obviously. And, can we put laugh tracks in? There we go. So music is a really, we only study magic. We don't study the craft, which is music, which is theatre. I studied theatre, so that all the element of everything about theatre should come. Even if you do, not even if you do kids performing, if you do close-up magic, no matter what style, you should know all this, and all of this can come into whatever genre of magic you do. You can bring all the facets of theatre into that.
So after studying with Bob Fitch, what did breathing look like in that silk act?
It completely changed it. It completely changed it, because if you look on the video, if you ever get a chance, it's just constant. It's boom boom, and the audience is like they're on the edge of their seats, and it's you can see the tension, which is good. But the minute I breathe, there are moments built into it. If you listen to the music now, within the music, there are moments I can breathe, and in fact, I can show you in a second. So there are moments you can breathe, and so instead of it just being rushed and sweating, you give the audience time to go, and it's just a slight moment, but they can take in what happened. So it changed it a lot. Plus, it made it really. But I have to actually say to myself when I do it, breathe, because I'm going to forget. Because I've been doing it for so long. For example, breathing could mean if I have something like this, I haven't got the music, but if I do a ring routine and just go through it really quickly, there's no time for the audience to register. So breathing could be a minute, just like showing your rings, and then that moment there, a slight, so that it registers with them, right? Otherwise, if I go like that and then go like that and whatever I do, it's a whole lot of movements. Nothing registers with them. It's just movement. Even dancers, everybody has to breathe. Music, you breathe.
Yeah, I see some of the finger flicking ninja ring people just doing it so fast. It's on off.
Well, take a moment, boom, just to let it register.
Yeah.
And silence. I do. So I perform strolling magic as Chaplin as well. So now imagine doing your entire close-up act without saying a word. It actually makes the magic stronger, way stronger. The reactions are huge compared to, because what magicians do, I haven't got a deck of cards, but if you have a card and then if you tell the audience, if you project or you tell them what's going to happen, say, look, I got a card, is that your card? No, I'm going to put that card in your hand and it's going to change. And they know, you've just told them what's going to happen, so that you've taken away the magic moment. But without speaking, if I take a card, and I can gesture, and they go, no, and I go, I put it in. I just put it in their hand, and I wait, and I breathe, and I pause, and I look, and then they register. Oh, he wants me to turn it over, and then wham, it's changed. It's quite even coins across. You do it, you can hear it. It's all like mime and visual, but it makes the magic so much stronger because you're not using your voice. It's performing as Chaplin, using music. Really is. It's not easy to master, but once you do, it completely changes a performance. You can really bring the audience in. Now, you guys do school shows, so you know what it's like. You watch a teacher who isn't yelling all the time, but the minute they are quiet like this, kids will listen. So your dynamics in a show, right? So if you do a school show, your dynamics can change because you can really bring the audience in because they're going to go, oh, do you know what I mean?
100%. 100%. Have you ever talked to Teller about miming and being quiet and had a conversation with Teller?
Teller and I just sat there and didn't say anything.
Oh, come on.
No, I haven't. I haven't actually. I'd love to.
I think that'd be a fascinating interview, just you two talking about the power of silence. Just the way he does that little smirk on stage when he does something. I mean, it brings the house down, and it's just a smirk. He's not doing anything.
Well, he is doing something, but it's so that character is so perfected. It's like Chaplin. You know, I've done it for 40 something. Well, no, since I was a kid. But every little nuance, every little twitch of the nose, every little gesture, I know is there for a reason. If you watch the show over and over, you go, he's just doing the same thing. So what is 100? Yeah, the same move because it's all timed. It's there for a reason. So.
And it's amazing how the audience can pick up on like an internal dialogue. Like you're doing that.
I'm 100%. I'm talking to myself the entire time, and that's what acting is. So it was actually Oscar Munoz who I toured with him many years ago in a show with Murray Hadfield, and across Canada, and I forget what the trick was. It was something I was working on. Oh, I know what it was. It was the floating broom, and I've been doing it forever. And then Oscar, who's great, took me, because when you tour, you help each other. He said, "What are you saying? What's your emotion? What are you saying to yourself when you're performing it?" And I didn't really have a backstory. I kind of had a story. So we developed a backstory to this trick, floating broom, and it makes me cry now. So because I'm acting, but I'm actually going through this emotion. So each time I do it, it's real. Like the emotions I feel, it was based on a Chaplin thing that he did where a broom came to, Chaplin imagined this broom became a woman and he danced with it. In my version, the broom comes to life and it floats and stuff. But it was Oscar that pointed that out to me. You do have that inner dialogue because that's what actors do. You have to convey the story. So in any magic trick, whether it be anything, what's your story? How do you convey it? From a coin travels from one hand to the other. Is it just going to happen? There's nothing, it doesn't do anything. Oh, yeah, it made a coin, whatever. But now, if there's an internal dialogue and there's this, it does change it. It really makes it magical.
So, what was your parents thinking about you wanting to be a magician when you first starting out? How did that go?
Not well.
Yeah.
No. My parents were great. They encouraged me. My mum and my grandparents really encouraged me. Dad was old school, brought up in a different time. So, teaching was the way that was our path, and music was I'm a twin, identical twin. My brother carried on with his music. He's head of department in England now of a music school. But my path was as a teacher, which is a good, steady job. But I was doing more magic, and about 20, when I finished my degree and did teachers college, I announced I was going to do it. And they said, look, do it for a year and then see how you go. Well, that year's turned into 40 plus years. No, 40 years. I don't know, I'm aging myself. 39 years.
So what was the first gig that made you feel like I've made it?
Well, I don't know. Well, I'll tell you what it was. It's interesting. I've been performing for a long time. I remember being in Paris and being on top of the Eiffel. No, I think it was I don't know, the Eiffel Tower maybe. And just thinking, oh my God, my job has brought me here and I'm standing on the Eiffel Tower. Holy smokes. Actually, and that, I'm not kidding you. That was the day when we had those brick cell phones. And I had one of the first ones and I was traveling. So I phoned up my parents. It probably cost $1 million to make that call. I think a pigeon took the note.
It was worth it.
But and I said, "You're not going to believe where I am." And that was really the first time. I was in my 20s, but that was where my parents, well, I could tell they were proud of me because that it had paid off, and there I was in Paris because of my work. And to this day, I don't take anything for granted because I still am that little 8-year-old boy with a dream. I always feel that. So I could be traveling anywhere. On a plane, I'll pinch myself. And I actually have a line in my head. Every time I do a gig, especially if I travel, I go, I say to myself, what? I always think that people are going to go, what is it? What is it? What is it again we pay him to do? I'm like, and I feel like that little 8-year-old kid just pinching myself. I used to watch The Love Boat as a kid, my favourite TV show as a growing up in New Zealand. And I always used to think, one day I'm going to perform on a ship. Little did I know that I would actually perform on the cruise ship that the TV show was filmed on, and actually get to meet the cast because I was the very last magic act on that ship. And they brought some of the cast on from that show. So Captain Stubing, Gavin McLeod.
Wow.
And then he was great. What amazing! I mean, I've met so many these stories. I mean, it's been phenomenal. When you just sort of, it just happens. Right time, right place.
I have a line in my show. I might have just thrown it in this week. I don't even know. But I said I'm like a 7-year-old at heart. I'm like a 7-year-old. I think I was talking about my wife, like whatever. But I'm like a 7-year-old. And the little kid in the audience said, you're an old man.
Oh, that's funny. I know, right? No, but upstairs we're 7.
I think I left off the line at heart.
Yeah, right. You're right. Yeah. I'm 7.
Oh no, you're not like a 7-year-old.
Oh, you want to keep that line in? That's great.
Yeah. All right, so let's see. What do you think the New Zealand magic community gave you that you couldn't have received elsewhere?
They really took well, I can't speak for elsewhere because I don't know, but back they really took me under their wings. Everybody took me under their wings. Everyone just took me under their wings. It was great because it's such a small community, and they could see the passion that I had as a young kid. That everyone really, even to this day, all those people are still my best friends if they're still around. Some of them have passed on, unfortunately. Because I was like the youngest guy growing up, and they seemed a lot older, but they probably weren't that much older. But they just really took me under their wings, and I think that's probably what it was. Just taking me and helping me develop, and just the encouragement. If I took one thing away, it'd be the encouragement. They encouraged me to do the magazine when everyone else around the world's going, you can't do a magazine. No matter what I did, everybody was they would encourage me to write books, encourage me. And then back in the day, New Zealand used to have the longest running magic magazine in the world called Magicana. And I've been writing for that since I was a teenager. So they would publish my work. That's where I started to enjoy writing. So because it's a small community, it's like if you live in a small town and you phone up the newspaper and say, hey, I've got a story, I won this award, they'll print it because they're looking for news. So it's that small town vibe, right? Everyone's proud of you and wants to see you succeed, and they'll help you. So that was the encouragement from everybody was one of the biggest things.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
We tour around sometimes and you see the people in the back of the room that don't want to help out the young kids, and they're too cool for the room and they're too cool for that. There's enough work to go around. Help out the guys coming up because they're the next generation. You gotta help.
Absolutely, and I've done everything. There's nothing left for me to do. I'm quite happy to sit and do my magazines, write books. I couldn't care less about performing anymore. I do conventions. I do shows, but I really couldn't care less because I've done it all, I still work, perform, but I just could take it or leave it. But I know when you're hungry when you grow up. So I book acts on cruise ships. So I get much more joy now. I don't want to work on a ship again. I've done it for so many years. I get much more joy out of hearing these young people. I meet them if they come to Vancouver, my acts, go and have lunch with them, and they got all these great stories. I'm just thinking to myself internally, yep, been there, done that. But I'm listening to them and encouraging them. And you can see that, and I love their excitement and joy. And I was like that. So you can either become bitter and twisted because you're not doing that still when you get older, because you won't. It changes. Young people come up, or accept it and help them. So that's what I like to do. I like to be the person that encourages them. I like to see people succeed.
So how did you keep the act fresh touring around all the time? How did you keep that smile on your face and keep the act, because so many people, we've seen it
Because
in
yeah,
Vegas, of them just going through the motions. How did you keep it fresh?
because I'm not in one place for very long.
Okay, okay. Well,
So
there you
no,
go.
no. So here's no. This is true. I mean, there's lots of reasons. I mean, the truth is, I really love the act. I really enjoy doing it. I love being Charlie Chaplin. So the joy for me is putting the makeup on, becoming Chaplin, because it's such an incredible character, to be get into that mindset, and taking the makeup off at the end, walking out to the audience. Nobody knows me, whereas every other act, autographs. No, not me. I'm happy to go back to my hotel room or on the cruise ships. Nobody bothered me. I'd be at a table, and I'd be at a table, and passengers would come over while we're eating, and they'd say to somebody, "Oh, I loved your show, loved your show, loved your show," and they look at me, don't know who I am, miss me, and it's great. I love it because they would leave me alone. So I like the what is it? What's the word? I like
Anonymity.
and then that's the word. Thank you. Of doing the act because I love being that character. Had since I was a kid, and I love the act. I love doing the act because it's just a joy to do, and I think that's partly it. There have been times where I do shows where I'm doing 3 a day, those sort of gigs we're doing at the same venue, and it you go, oh man, I got to put the moustache on, the glue. In fact, I remember one story. It was a horrible ship. It wasn't even a ship. It was like a ferry. It was in Sweden, and I was doing 3 shows a day. People, it was a 2-day crossover or something, and they were drunk. It was horrible, and I think one show I go out and I'm giving it like a 200%. I'm going, I just can't get anything out of this. I'm just not, for the first time in my life, I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling it. I'm going, what the hell's going on? What the heck's going on? I'm just not feeling the vibe for Chaplin. This has never happened. Go back to my cabin and just go like this, look in the mirror, and I forgot to put my moustache on.
Oh no!
But I realised, that little thing there. But what happened was I got so this is going back to your question. I got so complacent. I've just like it's like a job. Okay, put the makeup on, yeah, whatever. Okay, the act set, right? No, go through the motions. But that little moment of going, see, that was a lesson for me because I didn't put them. I didn't pay attention. I didn't put the moustache on. I didn't enjoy that. I did not like that show at all. But I couldn't get into it. I was not Chaplin, and that was a lesson. So every show I do, I make sure that I enjoy it because and you have to give 100. You have to force yourself. Well, no. Sometimes you do have to force. I get it. I understand in Vegas. I don't know how they do it because when I see shows, my son and I were there recently, and I went to see all these amazing shows. That's actually what goes through my mind. I go, this. It's like they're doing it for the very first time, and I hope that that's what I give when I do it because I am aware of that. I know, and every time I see, it doesn't matter if it's Chris Angel or Shin Lim, it looks like they're doing it for the very first time. I've never seen those guys or any of the other acts I've seen do a walkthrough. It doesn't feel like that. Okay, I don't know. That's amazing. That energy for that long. I'm like I can do an hour show, and or even just 15 minutes. Sometimes when you do it over and over, you can get complacent. But that lesson for me was the moustache. I'll never do that again. I always. And the truth is, here's the truth. The minute the music starts, my whole everything changes. The minute I hear that music, I could be talking to you like this. We're talking backstage, and you're thinking to yourself, they're introducing him, and he's still talking to me. But the minute that music hits, I hit that stage, it's completely different ball game. So that's what it is. It's the adrenaline, I guess.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, we saw it. We've seen it a couple times. Magicians on tour, magicians in Vegas. And we're like, that's awful that they're phoning it in. I know they're phoning it in. Does the audience know they're phoning it in? I don't know. But also, they could have stomach cramps. They could be sick. Their mother could have just died. But
Yep.
The audience, you can give it all the excuses you want. The audience doesn't care. They paid that money. They want to go see that show.
That's something 100%, and I learned that too. They really don't care.
Right.
When I would lose my luggage, they didn't care. So I had to go out and I would make a joke about it. But at the end of the day, they don't care. They don't care that you've got a high fever. They don't care. Absolutely, they don't care. They're there. They paid their money. They want to be entertained. So, and yeah, that's a really great point.
I've been on stage peeing blood from kidney stones. She's had major attacks. The show must go on. You collapse right after, and you just keep going.
I
You
have
just keep
collapsed
going.
on stage. I have collapsed on stage. I was doing one year. I said to my agent, because I live in Vancouver, I said, and I said, "Oh, can you get me work closer to home?" I don't know why they were thinking this. They must have thought I lived in New Zealand still. And so they gave me for the 3 months, the 3 month run of Australia and New Zealand. So I was flying 14 hours from Vancouver every week. I would fly down for 2 or 3 days, do a show, come back, go down for 3 months. Great air points, by the way. Great air point. But it almost killed me. And by the end of the run, I got dehydration so bad. I actually got sinus. So on the plane, I took like a sinus tablet to dry myself up, so I wasn't, And did the show about 3/4 of the way through the show. I just collapsed. What was bad was the main booker of Princess, the main guy, Patrick, his name was back in the day. He was in the audience. These people never go on a ship. Happened to be that particular ship. He was on that ship, and I collapsed. And I do a thing where I'm juggling hankies, and I have a guy next to me, and we're juggling hankies together, and as chaplain, and I stage whisper to him, "Do everything I do." So he's copying me, and I collapsed, and I sort of look over, and he's on the floor too. So I was able to get him up, get him back, but they had to close the curtains, and it turned out the doctor came, and it was just dehydration because I had been so exhausted, physically exhausted. I would fly 14 hours, have to work that night, and then 2 days, and then fly home, go back and do it again. It was exhaustion. And I thought to and then they said to me, "Well, the booker of Princess was in that show." I went, "Oh my!" I actually phoned up my ex-wife and I said, "That's the end of my career." I said, "I'll never get another booking again." I fly back home, and there's a message from him to say, "Hey, can you fly to South Africa tomorrow because the magician's hurt himself? We need you in South Africa." I went, "No." I had to take like a couple of weeks off because I was just so exhausted. So at the end of the day, they don't care. They didn't care. They thought it was part of the act, actually, which actually was quite funny.
Wow. How close were you to the end of the show?
About 3/4 into the show. So it was almost over, but I just couldn't carry on, and the audience didn't even know really that they weren't aware. They thought it was part of the show.
That's fantastic, fantastic. Golly. So we had talked prior about Vanish Magazine and social media.
Yeah.
Let's get into the bullying thing, social media, and your thing with that. You said you're doing something with Vanish about that.
Yeah. So it's been going on forever, and you can go back to history of magic. There's always been people attacking people. For me, you get to a point in your age in your life where you realize it's so small and so irrelevant that and I was brought up, maybe I was brought up in a different time. I probably was, where I don't care what people's religious beliefs, I don't care what people's political, I couldn't care less what your political. There was a time growing up when we would talk about politics to friends. You'd talk about it, you'd probably, I don't know if you'd argue or not, but doesn't mean you're not going to be their friend. It just means that you respect people's opinions. I have friends from every walk of life. That's their opinion. So I was brought up to respect people's. I have mine, and I've travelled the world. So the one thing I like about travelling the world is it's really opened my eyes to cultures and people, and I have a lot of time to sit and watch people at airports, and I've been to Israel. I've been all over the world. I remember going to Jerusalem and Mount of Olives, and the tour guide said, "What do you notice? Look around. Tell me what you see." I went, "Well, I see monks. I see Muslims. I see every religious." And he goes, "Oh, wait a minute. Everyone's getting on with everything. There's no fighting. There's no arguing. They're just everyone's respecting everyone's own beliefs." Okay. He goes, "Yep. Don't listen to the news." I go, "Oh, this is incredible." It was a real eye-opener. So, I was brought up respecting people. And so if somebody has an opinion... Now, if somebody writes something on social media, it seems to be a trend that if they don't follow your beliefs, you instantly attack them. There are proper ways to have discussions. If I sit down over a coffee or a beer or whatever, dinner, and then we talk about our beliefs or our political beliefs, then that's fine. I'd rather do it in person, and I will listen to a person, because maybe some of the things they say, I go, "Oh, you know what? Hey, I didn't know that." because I learn. Life is about learning, and I'm open to learning and looking at different views because that makes me a better person. So, but on social media, especially, well, I mean, I'm sure it's everywhere, but obviously magic is what pops up on my feed all the time. And I just got so sick of it. If you put something up that and people seem, there's what I call the magic police, and it's the same people. They instantly have to nail and say that you're wrong and put you down and call your names. Oh, holy smokes, people! If that's all you've got to do, the big thing right now is AI, and what these people and people are attacking anything with AI. They just attack, hate, without realizing the minute they turn Facebook on. Facebook is I'm a Facebook creator. I make a living off Facebook as an AI creator. That's my handle on my. I have a separate thing from Magic, and and so I know what's going on in the world of AI and in the world of Facebook, and I can tell you right now that every time you turn your phone on, actually, but every time you turn Facebook on, you are using AI. So these people come on attacking AI. Well, first of all, if you're going to attack AI, you shouldn't be using Facebook or social media because it's all AI. I can go into my Facebook account and the amount of everything is AI. It's all automatically. AI does everything for me. It goes into every post. It gives me information that most people don't have. It's phenomenal what it can do. Now, whether you're pro AI or anti AI, again, I respect your opinion, but the problem we're having is people attacking other people, and my son grows up with this outside of school and stuff every day to the point where it's horrendous, and that's what really got me on this. And then I got attacked recently because I did something and I made an error, and there was a reason for it, and I used AI for something, a graphic, and had somebody actually said, "Hey, can you change that? It would take me 2 seconds, and it would have been done." But instead, 1,000 people got on and ripped the there's that word, ripped the beep out of me, and that really. And I'm going, these people I know. Well, couldn't they just reach out and say, "Hey"? It took one person to say, "Hey," instead of the very first thing they did was to put up a negative post attacking me. I'm going, well, they didn't actually know. They didn't know it was me, and then people cotton on. Well, it has to be Paul because he does everything digital. He does. It was a magazine, a magazine read by 50 people, local magazine. So it was a no-brainer, and I was that really wiped me out to the point I was going to walk away. I really was going to throw it all in because they don't deserve my talent. They don't deserve For 8 years, I did this project for them without ever letting anyone know I did it. I was in the background doing this. Take me a long time to do it. 8 years, never got a thank you. I don't care about that, but the one time I hear from everybody is when they want to put you down. And so we see that. And it just happened recently with a friend of mine. He put something up, and instead of I think he just put it up, and then people just, because it was AI, people just ripped into him to the point. Look, I'll give you an example. Someone wrote to me and said, a magician wrote to me and said, "Go find a piece of rope, hang yourself, and I will come and piss on your grave."
Oh
And
my gosh.
oh, yeah, those were the nice ones. So my friend who got attacked, people were saying even worse things. They're going to come and get him at the show and all this, just because he put up a graphic. Now, he's since changed the graphic, but it really, these are people, you go, wait a minute, these are people I meet at conventions. And nobody knows the backstory. So it's like going from 0 to 100 or looking at something, just going attack. I don't know what, the world is full of hate. And so in Vanish, what I started it a while back before this happened, a section on bullying and cyberbullying in the magic community. And the stories that I would read these and weep. The stories are horrendous. I'm sure and I don't mention names because I'm not going to. It just genuinely help somebody feel. So my friend, I wrote to him and he's written. So the next coming up, the September issue of Vanish will have his story in it. And it's just we need to. The number one thing is if you read something. So what I do is I read something online. We have the option of like television. If you don't want to like it, you just move on. If you don't like something, just move on. But why do you have to attack? Or write to the person and say, "Hey, can I offer a little suggestion if you don't mind? If you know them, this is just my opinion, but don't do it in public. I mean, it's horrible." Or or stop. We talked about breathing earlier, about doing magic and breathing. And so what people do is they read something, they get angry, instantly angry, because that's the world we live in. It's a very angry world. And apparently it's okay to be angry now. And so, an attack. And so they'll instantly, bang, send it. And for some reason they get a kick out of it, adrenaline rush, makes it feel good. But you never know. But instead of doing that, just take a time to breathe, think about it, and chances are it's going to go away, and you'll realize, you know what, it's not a big deal.
I had one 5 years ago, probably at this point, and it said library.com is a place that magicians can go to, but library spelled incorrectly.
Yeah, I know, I have that. Yeah,
I've got my company. A Chinese company had one that was library.com that was spelled incorrectly as well. I don't shop at library.com. I don't like PDFs. I want to own physical copy. My Danish magazines I own them. I can show
them.
You're in
hardcovers.
I want to scroll through them. I'm that guy, right?
Yeah.
So I get a notification. I get an email that says 300 books for $29.95, and it's this whole list of books, and it's a flash sale. It's only through the weekend, so I put it up before I go to bed. When I got up the next morning, I probably had 300 comments. Does Paul Romhany know his book's on that list? He's not getting a cut of that. Does this guy know he's on the list? And they emailed all the people that were on the list, and I got berated because it wasn't an official thing. It was a ripoff company. I thought I was helping out the magic community. Hey, guys, step it up. But I had one guy reach out to me and actually text me and say, I think that's a scam site. Oh, crap. I didn't know that.
Yeah, take it down. That's it. Yeah.
That was it.
That's a great point. Yep.
But I didn't see it till the next morning because I went to bed. But it was too
late. So it's this whole attacking. I don't know what it is, but it's everywhere. Just that my feed is magic, and so it's disappointing, and especially because I know these people, and they don't know the backstory. If I make a mistake, which I did in this particular case because I was exhausted and I had 100 things I was doing, I got that morning I got the magazine had to be, that particular magazine for this club had to be out that day, and I just got things sent in the morning, so it was easy for me to just go AI this and just get it out, because I thought, and then it took 2 seconds to change it, but nobody bothered to, within seconds, reach out. Had somebody said, hey, I go, yeah, not a deal, bang, gone. But instead they decided to go online and make it public. I'm going, well, first of all, those hundreds of people that commented shouldn't be reading it, because they're not. It's only for paid subscribers. But whatever. And then I learned. So now I backed away. Hey, I actually walked away from that, and I realised that it's really on them. So there's a lot of it's on them. It's not on me. My lesson was, I took away a lesson, which was when you use it, there are things. So when you use AI, if you change a face, for example, go back into Photoshop. There's a special tool now that Photoshop has, where if you AI, so you're doing a poster, so I'm doing a picture of me, and AI might alter it somehow. So you can go back, and there's a special tool, so you have the original and the copy, like the original photo of me, and maybe I'm flying. Photoshop can now do a special tool thing using AI, but doesn't AI it, where it takes that photo, the face, and puts it on there, so it matches 100%. So I learned how to do that. But yeah, so Vanish, we are doing this thing on bullying, because it just makes me sick, and it makes me very sad that it's that what's happening. And it's got worse actually over the years. So I have started a little thing in Vanish. So if people have stories, send them to me. I'm happy to. I don't want names. I don't want you to say, "Oh, they said this about me." It's not name calling. It's just genuinely how it's affected a person, and it really, how you don't know what your comment says, how it can affect somebody. It really can. I mean, it can take. It's just horrible. So we need to be aware of it.
And coming from a known magician, it has weight to it. It's even worse, it seems like.
I couldn't care less.
Well, I'm saying for me.
No, I know what you mean. I know what you mean. But
for little me, Paul Romhany went on there and said, "How dare you give away my books for free?" Paul, I didn't mean to. It just hurts worse.
No, yeah. See, I would never do that, though. See, I would write to you and say, "Hey, I heard this," because I like, but it doesn't matter who it is. I always believe in going, and I would write to that person. Hey, and I wouldn't be angry, because you can't, because hey, all my stuff's all over, and I really don't care anymore. I couldn't care less of. Hey, you can go online and get a rip-off of Vanish magazine, but what they don't realise, this makes me laugh, is the cost of Vanish is more expensive on these rip-off sites than it is direct. So if you're willing to pay more, go for it. I don't care. It's your loss. No, I know, And I do Vanish for the love of it. I get very little. If my friends know, it's just all investment on my part because that's my thing for giving back to the community.
So what got you started? What started Vanish?
So 15 years ago, this is the 15th year, my son was born, and I was doing cruise ships and traveling a lot. I didn't want to be a dad that was away a lot. A lot of things actually at the time. There wasn't a magazine out there that I felt. I felt magazines had got quite stale. We were always seeing the same people, and because I travelled, I would meet such interesting people that you would never see in a magazine. All around the world. In fact, I'm just looking at some covers here, and I'm looking at none of these people on these covers probably would have made it. They're from all over the world. That guy would have made it for sure. But no, actually, he probably wouldn't have. In regular magazines,
Craig Diamond surely wouldn't have been on the cover of a regular magazine.
But look at
I love Craig Diamond. I'm giving him a hard time.
Craig was lucky to get on the cover of Vanish. No, I love Craig too. But look at Craig. So everybody has a story. I don't care how young or old you are. Everybody has a story. Craig's a phenomenal performer. One of the best because he's worked all his life. He's a worker, man. I've seen him. Everybody has a story. And at the end of the day, I'm not looking for famous magicians to be on the cover. I'm looking for somebody that has a story. It's the story that really and see. I tell people when we do a Vanish cover, I say, look, I'm not interested in how many awards you've won. I really couldn't care less about if you've won a Merlin. some people, I usually say them. Well, I couldn't care if you've won whatever. Well, I couldn't care less. But what I do care about if you're a FISM winner, say for example, how did you get to that point? Like what's behind that? I don't care about your 12 trophies. What is your story? Maybe they're on the spectrum, maybe whatever. I don't. What's the inspiration? I want people to come away from Vanish going, wow, and they do. People write to me, go, man, that one thing really inspired me, and not just the cover stories, every story. It's so there really back in the day when I started it 15 years ago, magazines weren't doing that. It was always the same stuff, followed the same format, the same formula. The thing about Vanish is at the end of the day, it has to be a magazine that I want to read because that's really what it is. Even if only one person read it and that was me, well, that's okay because that's really it all comes. So if you read Vanish and you look at all the articles and everything, how diverse it is, then you have a good understanding of the person that I am because it all relates to how I feel about the world. Vanish also, I think, should be a reflection of what happens in the world. So in 50 years, somebody goes back through Vanish and they'll read about how COVID affected us. So during COVID, we had everything was COVID related, the magic. And then the nice thing about Vanish being digital is, so I had a magazine planned 3 days before the world went into lockdown. And it had nothing to do with the lockdown. It was a friend of mine who was going to be on the cover. But the lockdown happened, the world changed instantly. So in a day or overnight, I changed the cover. I found out there was a guy on a magician on a cruise ship that was stuck, they couldn't get off. So I got in contact with them. So the nice thing about Vanish is that it can change instantly. I can change it overnight. Depends. And sometimes I can hold off stories. If a story comes in at the end of the month and I think, man, that's really, which it has happened, Shin Lim winning AGT or the World AGT, whatever, I changed everything instantly. And I reach out to these, so it's relevant. I want it to be, a month later, nothing's relevant anymore, as far as I'm concerned, because of the internet. The news is instant. So a printed magazine is irrelevant a month later. I get stories before anyone else because I can do it. A month later, chances are I'm not going to bother because it's gone, and it makes it. That's the world we live in. People want news instantly and up to date. So that's the nicest thing about Vanish, and then it's printed as well. But it's And then I started doing 2 covers. So that's something I do specials. I do covers, 2 covers, because there's so much material that I feel that I wish I could give everybody a cover, but there's just so much. So I've designed 2 covers now. So there's the front and the back. So lots of things I've done to change. I mean, the digital publication is changing every day. There are things we've added, that different languages, multi-languages. You can do stuff using AI, of course, like multi-languages. Even just we have the most advanced, search capabilities within Vanish of any, because I pay a lot of money for the creators of the software to constantly design new things. Things change every week, so they're constantly building new things for Vanish, the look of it, how to search it. So it's the most advanced, not just Magic Magazine, it actually is one of the most advanced. I was the guy, the company is one of the biggest companies in the world who have every other magazine, Time, whatever magazine. I think it was last year, I learned how to put it in multi-languages. They didn't even know. But I had done research. I had decided this is what I was going to do, and using AI, I found a way to do it. And I spoke to the CEO of the company because they found out I did it. They phoned me up and said, "How did you do it?" I said, "Well, this is how I did it." But I said, "This is how you guys could do it, because I'm not a software designer. I just found a way using your software to do it." And so they're creating, what they're doing now is just so Vanish is. I look ahead. Vanish is a VR magazine. You can look at Vanish on a virtual reality headset. I created that. I'm always looking ahead. I was the very first person. I'll never forget this. I think it was through Murphy's. I was the very first person to do a download. Everybody was doing DVDs. The very first trick, I forget what trick it was. I can't remember what it was now, but it's such a long time ago. I did a download. I was the most hated person in Magic because that was the very first download ever done. And I could see back then, I thought, oh, this is the future. It's all going to be online tutorials. I could see 100 years ago, not 100, it feels like 100, that this is where it was going. I did it, took a lot of flack, and then within a month or whatever it was, I don't know what it was. Now that's all we have, downloads. So.
I'm so organized with my computer, man. My downloads get in a file and I don't have them all organized, or my computer goes down, then everything's gone.
There is in the last Vanish, I think it was the last one or the one before, there's an amazing, and I'll have to look it up, check it out. I think it was either the month before last, sorry, software now that somebody created for all downloads. So it categorizes them, it puts them in order. It's like and then so all your personal, everything you can, where is, I want to find Marlowe's, whatever, bang, and it goes through all your files. So every download you have, you can now input it into the software. It's like a library, and it searches great. If you, it's really phenomenal. So it just launched it. I think it was launched a month or two ago. But check out, I can't, I just got back from New Zealand, so my mind's a bit.
We're running out of time, but I want to talk about your murder and magic.
Oh, okay. So a friend of mine, Chris, came up with that concept, and he sold the concept. He I don't know if it's still available, and I just ran with it. So I think I bought it off him, and I just ran with it. So basically, it's a corporate show. It's a murder mystery night, and I've been doing it. He started it years ago, and I developed it for my own needs. And so it's just a corporate show. They like corporate. When you do corporate shows, they often like involvement or activities. So rather than just sit there watch a magic show, the audience becomes part of the show. So I'm the detective, and there's a murder taking place. A clown got killed, and then we get all the volunteers. I forget how many there are, maybe 10, 12 volunteers throughout the show. They all take on specific roles. So it's like Cluedo. You'll have the butler, or you'll have the the 3 policemen, and then each trick is related to that. And at the end, there's a big prediction, and because I'm the psychic detective, I've predicted the entire outcome. So it's a themed show. So again, it's a themed show, but it's a corporate show. Yeah.
And you're doing that more often now than?
No, I don't. No, I have a client, that an agency that really just is the only one that books that now because they love it, and they sell that. That has to be sold to. I don't. It's a lot. It's a show that has a lot of work for me, so I charge a lot, and I can't be bothered selling it myself anymore. So there's an agency that likes it, and so they will book me for that. That's pretty much. I just do it for them now, for their clients. Sorry.
It says you won New Zealand's Grand Master Award in 2015.
Mm-hmm.
What did that mean to you?
Oh, well, that's something really special because that's been going since I was a kid, and the people that have won it were people that I grew up with, and they were all professionals. It's a professional magician's award, very rarely given out. I forget how many there were over the years. And so when your peers, people that I grew up with, and it's an acknowledgement of the work I've done, with everything I've done, and those are the awards that mean more to me than anything. Like, for example, it was just, especially from New Zealand. I mean, it was a really special night, and it was presented by my mentor, Wayne Rogers, who was really the last thing he did before he passed away. He wanted to stick around, I guess, to see me get it, and so it was really nice that the Magicians awarded me that. Grandmaster's a big title, and I don't know if I'm a Grandmaster, but it's the fact that they acknowledged me more than anything. I like those ones, like the Magic Castle Award was an acknowledgement of my work. They always come out of the blue, and I never expect them because I don't do this for any reason. I don't do it for. I don't want the accolades. The accolades is me finishing the magazine and going. And the accolade for me is me finishing the magazine and going, hey, I did a good job on that. It's me that I'm going. Good for you. You are proud of my work. And that's it. That's all. It's just me. I do it for me. No one else. I don't need people to have. But I'm really fortunate now, especially that it's been going a long time. And the community is appreciative of it. Like I see magazines start, and a month later they're gone. I know people go, "Are you worried?" I go, "No. Do you know how much work goes into this? Like 24 hours a day." Or I'm not kidding you. It's like non-stop. People don't see it, and it's not. I have contributors, but the design, the layout, everything is me. Sure, I have contributors. Nick Lewin has some great Louis Fox. All these amazing people. They contribute. Without them, it wouldn't be a magazine, actually, obviously. But the layout. I mean, I'm doing the layout and everything, and editing, and so I appreciate I've got a Mullihan Award coming up in September, which is totally out of the blue. In fact, it was funny. They phoned up to say, "Hey, congratulations, you've been awarded this award for your work." And I went, "Are you sure? Because there must be a mistake." And anyway, no, there's no mistake. We'll put the phone down. About 15 minutes later, the same number rings up, and I said to myself, I knew it was a mistake. They've made an error. And I said, you phoning to say you made a mistake? Yes, no. Okay, okay. But I certainly don't do any. I'm humbled by it all because I don't do it for that reason,
All right, so I was told by a little bird that you have something coming out. I don't know if you could talk about it. We didn't talk about it pre-interview here.
Mm.
It's you, Michael Breger, and Nick Lewin are doing something special.
Oh, it's up. It's already. Yeah.
I was asked to mention that to bring it out. So what's going
great.
on?
Yeah, completely. Sorry, there's so much going on in my life. I'm working on so many projects. No, 100%. It's already started. This is incredible. I'm glad you brought that up because I'm terrible like this with news. Worst person to interview. So I do interviews.
This is blown by. I have pages of questions. We got to get you back because I'm having a blast.
The Phoenix, so Vanish, this is amazing. So Michael approached me a couple of months ago to see if I'd be interested in he had thought about this, the Phoenix magazine, which is a phenomenal magazine. I mean, the Benson Bowls is in the Phoenix magazine. These tricks that are famous. This is where it was like the most, I think it was a weekly publication, 3 or 4 pages. The Benson Bowls, the list goes on and on of the famous people. So he's like, hey, he wanted to do it as a separate thing where people paid $8 a magazine or something. And it was only 4 pages. And I said, look, I know the magic community. They're not going to pay anything. They're just because, they'd rather buy a trick. But we talked about it. And so what we've done is we've added it in to Vanish. So now at the end of Vanish, every issue you're going to get a Phoenix. And Michael's gone through and he's going to have people help him. But he's gone through it. It's already started last month was the first one. Super exciting because now you've got these incredible articles from the Phoenix. Well, he's recreated the Phoenix, so we're carrying on actually. The numbering system's carried on. So within Vanish, we now have the Phoenix, a magazine within a magazine. Again, something that's never been done before. I love this idea. A magazine, so another magazine within Vanish. Yep, and that's the Phoenix. So we've got new tricks. So there's so much magic now, tricks wise. It's fantastic. So you've got classics that he's looked at and changed a little bit, and then he and others will add a new trick each issue. So there's like 4 or 5 tricks within the Phoenix. It's fantastic. And I read these and I go, holy smokes, that is brilliant. And he has his own little, because he's such a great thinker. He's one of the most underrated. His books are phenomenal. What a gem. What an amazing mind. I love his stuff. So this is really exciting. I'm glad you said that, because obviously I forgot about it. That's how tired I am.
I have the leather-bound Phoenix of everything, but I don't have new stuff, so I got to get that.
So there's new stuff and there's adaptation. Will you be, there's he takes us something and he can adapt it for today's audiences, change it. So and he chooses 3 or 4 things that he really likes, and then he'll do something brand new. Oh, it's brilliant. So that's and no extra charge. It's included. Vanish is cheaper than a cup of coffee. I forget what it is a year. Is it $14 a year? You get for the entire year, you get 12 issues of Vanish. You get access to 15 years of Vanish. We have illusion plans. I mean, full illusion plans in Vanish. I'm just trying to find if I have anything here. But there are full working. Nobody does full. You could pay $40, $50, maybe more for just one set of full illusion plans. These are working plans. Every sort of second issue, we have full illusion plans. They can be 6 to 12 pages long, because I'm not worried about length. There's things that Vanish does that nobody's ever done before. So there's no magazine. And I say this, I really do mean it. And it's taken me years to actually, feel comfortable saying this, but because I go, no, whatever. But, Vanish really does things that nobody else has ever done before. And my friends have convinced me to be proud of it. So I am proud of it, but it's hard for me to say it, because that's not something.
Be proud of it. We're proud for you. We'll cheer it up for you.
And I gave a great review for your flip. I love that. I mean, that was one of the best things I've ever seen on Pen, probably the best thing. Well, they do it. So that has to be the biggest accolade you could ever get. They choose
them doing it. And not only that, man, they mention my name on stage before they do it. They own it. They don't have to mention my name.
They should have it for sale out in the back in the shop. You should be out there
give me a
selling
cut
it.
of that one too. I'll take a cut of that one. So, where can people find Vanish Magazine? Of those
vanishmagazine.com. Everything's on there, or Vanish Magic, it's vanishmagicmagazine.com. And it's got everything on there. It'll take you to how you can subscribe. It'll take you to the printed versions. Printed versions are on demand, because that's the way the world works, saving paper. So if you want a printed version, you can do it on demand. What else? Let me think. Hang on, I just want to show you. So, here we are. I didn't realize. So this is an example of the illusion plans. So we've got this illusion plan here, for example. I think this is a way to do. No, this isn't snow. I don't know what this one is. But you can see the full. Oh, this is a version of snow. So he's designed how you can do snow illusion. That's just one example, of the illusion plans. I mean, I still look at this sometimes and go, wow, did I design that? It's this is the Chris Angel show with Alice Cooper. That was in that issue there. That's a good. I got Chris, and I did this as a huge poster actually. I just went blank for a second. So we got these made as posters. So there are 3 of these posters that exist in Canvas. There's mine, Chris, and Alice Cooper, and they're all signed. So I'm really proud of that.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
But, we feature magicians that you wouldn't normally read about. Connie Boyd, I should mention Connie, because Connie is the most phenomenal person I've ever met. And so she's been a huge supporter of Vanish with her articles and her books. And, there's just so much in here. This one doesn't have the Phoenix in it, but there's reviews. So it's your Connie's. She's a pioneer in what she does, and she's changed magic in a huge way. So she's a big part of Vanish. Hal Myers, Damien. Do you know Damien, right? Hal.
I don't know enough, but yeah.
Well, that's my problem. I talk to him too much. No, I love him. I'm just kidding. No, we talk each day. best. I met him on Ricky Dunn's tour 100 years ago. Everything's 100 years ago because that means I don't remember the date, but it's such a long time ago. It feels like 100 years. Back when he had hair. No, I don't know. So it's 120 years ago.
I just wish I did magic more. He talks magic, knows magic, loves magic. He just wants to play his guitar or banjo.
I know, I get it. He got to a point. You got to a point where you get washed out. You get drained.
I don't ever want that day to happen. Shoot me.
No, but I can see it. And his passion, his work has taken him out. He shows me. He's so creative. I ended up with some of his props. I bought them over the years, and they're just his thinking to this. Like if people were looking for a consultant, he'd be the guy I would go to because he's another one that studied with worked with Ricciardi, everybody, and so the things the tours and just a huge knowledge, and so he and I we could speak hours about ideas and things, and yeah. So Vanish is made up of all my friends, and the number one thing, they have to be able to laugh, because every time I speak to people, I'll find humor in everything. We always laugh. So if you can laugh with me, then you can write for Vanish.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Paul, thank you so much for doing this, man. This hour flew by. Where can people find you online? I know you love Facebook, but
Facebook, whatever. But Paul R Magic. No, not Paul R Magic. Paul Romhany Magic is my website for props. I'm everywhere. The question is, where can't you find me? That would be more like the question. If you Google me, go, oh my God, he's everywhere. Holy jeez, that guy likes himself. You got to use social media. I started social media. We didn't even got into Facebook, but social media is how I make a big part of my income now. I created a character on social media, which is an idiot, and I created this character. That's a whole nother podcast on how to make a living from social media. But anyway, so I'm all over the shop.
We'll get you back on. Yeah. Find out how to get you back on Facebook, and then I can do that too. That'd be great.
There you go.
Hey, thank you for everything. I think the only thing left to say is see you next week.
See ya. Yeah, no, I just finished.
Check us out online at wesisley.com and patreon.com/Wes_Isley for behind-the-scenes videos, blooper videos, never-before-seen footage, discounts on merchandise, magic trick tutorials, and more. That's Wes Iseli, spelled WESISELI.